PNR Networks is a member of Patreon. Show your love for our shows by joining our ongoing fundraising campaign and get some fantastic perks in return. Check it out and become a Patreon sponsor. You can sign up at patreon.com, patreon.com/PNR Networks. And thanks for your support.
She just goes a little mad sometimes.
Do you ever feel like you're normal and the rest of the world has lost its collective mind?
Put your helmet on. We'll be reaching speeds of 3.
Do you find people saying this to you a lot?
Are you totally deranged?
Are you looking for a looking glass to pass through?
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Or looking for a rabbit hole to fall down?
Who could think of a better punishment, really? Everything's the same here. It's just a little worse.
Guess what?
Life's a bitch. Now so am I.
You've found it. Welcome to Platinum Rose's Garden.
Well, hello, my darlings. This is Platinum Rose Lady welcoming you to Platinum Rose's Garden on Saturday, April 8th, 2017. I hope everybody out there is had a great week. My week was okay, a little sicker early in the week, but I'm better now. Yay! Obviously, something really cool to talk about is going on right at this very moment, and that is the Supernatural Con that is going on in Seattle. I hope everybody out there is having a great time. I'm sure you are, meeting all of the people that have been on Supernatural and meeting other fans and stuff like that. I have to say that going to a Supernatural convention, I've only been to one, damn it, is really a great experience. It's one of the best experiences of my life. I went in 2011 with my awesome buddy Katie from Kansas, who came up to Massachusetts to see at the con, and we went to the con and had a great time. I have a little spot of infamy carved, if you want to call it that, carved out for me. You can find it on YouTube if you look for stuff about what happened when a certain fan asked Jared Padalecki a question about what's the most uncomfortable outfit he had to wear as an actor. That fan happens to have been yours truly, because I have no filter. Hooray! And the stupid thing is, people have seen that and they've been like, wow, that was so crazy. That's probably the most outrageous thing you've ever done. I'm like, nope. I was one of those people that when I got to college, I found out, hey, I'm kind of nuts, and I'm actually pretty okay with it. And I did some things in college that I look back on now, and I'm like, holy crap! What was I thinking? But, it's all good. I turned out to be the well-adjusted adult you see before you now. Stop laughing. That's not nice. Speaking of not nice, I do have to talk about something that, I don't usually like doing things like this because this sounds really like I'm preaching, and I don't like doing this, but I do feel like sometimes people need to be called out when they're basically being complete and utter douche nozzles. The word shaming has been bounced around a lot the last couple of years. People talk about slut shaming and body shaming and this shaming and that shaming and on and on and on and on and on. Now, some people take that way too, like, oh my gosh, you shamed me just because you said you didn't like my outfit or something. I mean, that's ridiculous. But there are obviously times when people are using shaming tactics to hurt other people's feelings simply because they can. And that's not cool. And I've actually never run into that, or if I have, I haven't noticed because I tend to go through life being like, tra-la-la-la-la, and not really giving two shits what people think of me. If I did, I wouldn't do the things that I do. But if you listen to this show or any of the other shows I'm involved with on the internet, you've probably figured out by now I really don't give a flying fuck what other people think of me. Since I am not what society considers beautiful by any stretch of the imagination, But I do have someone in my life who thinks I'm beautiful, and their opinion matters to me a fuck ton more than the opinion of a bunch of strangers. So it is what it is. But this week, I actually ran into some of this shaming stuff. I found out I don't really like it. I was commenting on Twitter, as I am wont to do, PlatinumRoseLady at Twitter.com or PlatinumRoseL at Twitter.com if you'd like to give me a follow. And I'm just doing my usual bouncing around, do thing that I do. And I noticed somebody had put up a tweet. And I won't give their name because I don't want to give them any press because I don't really like them. And the person was saying, basically they were talking about Supernatural, and they were saying why would anybody want Eileen to come back to the show, the character of Eileen Leahy, and, why would anybody want her to connect with Sam, and so on and so forth. And I responded very politely. I said that I would like her to come back for one, and I would love for her to get involved with Sam, because Eileen is a great character. She's a strong, capable, intelligent, beautiful woman, and I think she and Sam would make a great couple. Yes, I completely ship Sam Lean. Ta-da! So, this person wrote back something basically knocking my idea, and basically telling me that that Sam and Eileen didn't have any chemistry. And, no, actually they hadn't said that at that point. I had said, in response to them, I said that I thought Sam and Eileen had great chemistry. I didn't say it was romantic chemistry at first. I mean, I don't think that Sam and Eileen had a love at first sight kind of a thing happening, but I thought they had great chemistry. This person then tweeted back to me, "Don't be ridiculous. They totally don't." And I'm kind of like, excuse me? I mean, if you don't like the idea, you could just say, I didn't see it, or, maybe I don't see something you see, or something like that, because that's the thing that decent people do. You don't tell somebody that their opinion about a ship is ridiculous. That's not very nice. You're basically saying, well, I'm right and you're wrong, and your opinion doesn't matter, because your opinion doesn't agree with me. This happens so much in the Supernatural fan community. Mostly it seems like online. And I really and truly don't get it. I mean, I would say like 95% of the Supernatural fans that I've met are really awesome people. There's just this 5% that are just real jerks. The problem is this 5% is really loud. And they ship shame. They will completely run down people who are, Destiel fans. Personally, I don't have a problem with Destiel. Do I think it's ever going to become canon? Probably not. Do I think that that's, a bad thing? I don't know if people are ready for it, to be honest with you. And I just, it's not something I think about all the time, to be perfectly frank. But I think Destiel as a fan-written stuff is terrific. I've read a lot of really great Destiel stories. I would never tell another fan, well, you're wrong for liking Destiel, and oh, by the way, I think you're a terrible person. That would never occur to me. My whole thing is basically, if people want to ship other characters, fine. I mean, don't demand that your ship that you write about be canon. That's just rude. But, I don't think you have the right to tell other people, well, I don't agree with your ship, therefore it's wrong, and you're a terrible person, by the way. And some people have been really hateful to other people, and I really just don't get that. It just completely mystifies me. I mean, maybe it's just because some people like to hurt other people's feelings, or what? I don't know. I don't get it sometimes, and it makes me sad. It does. But I'll tell you one thing that does not make me sad, and that is obviously Supernatural, and that's obviously why you're here for this week's Supernatural episode recap. So let's get to it. And by the way, Sam and Eileen forever. Season 12, Episode 17 of Supernatural, The British Invasion. The Then is obviously dealing with a lot of stuff. The Then is dealing with Lucifer, who is trapped in the body of his old vessel, Nick, and is the prisoner, I suppose would be the best way to put it, of Crowley. Eileen Leahy, the Irish hunter, who also happens to be deaf. And the British men of letters and what they're up to, and the fact that it may not be good for Sam and Dean in the long run. And now we get to now. Now, which is actually not now, it's actually then. Ow. That totally hurt. In 1987, actually, at the Kendrick's Academy in Britain, which we know is the school where the British men of letters are trained. And we see two students walking down the corridor, and their names are Timothy and Michael, and they're talking about upcoming break, and they go into this room where they are meeting with the headmistress of the school, a very strict and stern-looking woman who's already giving me extremely bad vibes, named Dr. Hess. And she tells them that only one of them is going, this is basically their final exam, on a room that's got a plastic tarp over the bottom of it, which is probably not a good thing. I'm having Avengers flashbacks, Age of Ultron, by the way. And she tells them that only one of them is going to leave the room alive. This is after she leaves a knife on the desk. And we come to the present, and Mick waking up and looking like he's worse for wear, remembering this traumatic time in his life, and we get the opening credits. We see the Impala driving down the road, and Sam on his laptop, holding his laptop as he and Dean Skype with Eileen Leahy, who is working with them in trying to track down the missing Miss Kelly Klein, who is still pregnant with Lucifer's spawn. Eileen has found out about a building that she tracked Kelly and this other woman to, which they all believe is Dagon, the Knight of Hell that has been for some reason taking care of Eileen. It was an abandoned warehouse which has since burnt down. And you can definitely tell there is still this attraction thing happening with Sam and Eileen. I'm sorry. I totally see it. I don't care what anybody else says. And I'm sorry. It's cute. I'm sorry. There it is. I don't care. I'm a romantic. Can't help it. Which Dean comments on too, and Sam's all like, shut up. But you can it's totally brother teasing, and it's really cute. When the guys get back to the Batcave, though, in Kansas, it turns out they've got a guest, and that would be Mick, who tells them that the keys that open the door to the British men of letters open the doors to the British men of letters all that Mick has all over the world. Comforting. They tell him about, it turns out that the British men of letters had noticed this pulse in energy a few months back, and it's because of the coming into existence of a Nephilium, which is what happens when a human and an angel have sex. The result is a Nephilium. And Sam and Dean have to tell him about Kelly Klein and Dagon and all of that mess. Mick is, needless to say, horrified that they let Kelly live. The whole idea that this is obviously, the spawn of a human and Lucifer. This is probably not a good thing. I mean, the whole abomination, end of times kind of stuff. We see Lucifer in hell speaking to Dagon about Kelly. He basically wants a progress report about the baby and Kelly. He's tells Dagon not to fail him again, which I found to be an interesting remark. We cut back to Nick, who's having a nightmare / flashback to what happened when he was a young man and how he was forced to murder his friend Timothy to move on to the next level in the British men of letters. Pretty much like Natasha Romanoff did in the Red Room in Avengers Age of Ultron. Sorry, comic nerd. Can't help it. And he gets a call from his superior, Dr. Hess, the woman that we saw earlier on, talking about the mangy colonials, etc., etc. I'm like, excuse me, what? What did you just... Y'all are still hung up on this whole American Revolution bullshit? I'm sorry, the last time I looked, if we hadn't stepped in and saved your butts, your national anthem would probably still be Deutschland, Deutschland, über allen. Sorry. Sorry about that. Sorry. Whole hands across the sea kind of a thing. She brings up what is apparently the school motto, assimilate or eliminate. Dr. Hess is apparently a total umbrage. We'll get to that term later. And I did find it interesting, her name being Hess. Where have I heard that name before? Gosh, it's right on the... Oh, yeah, that's where I heard it before. Wasn't there some guy named Rudolf Hess? And wasn't he the deputy of... who was it? Oh, yeah, Adolf Hitler. Interesting. Oh, well, moving on. So it's very obvious that she's not happy with the fact that there's not been much progress as far as she's concerned with getting the Winchesters and other American hunters in line. Gag. Kelly, meanwhile, and Dagon are in another place, obviously not the burned out warehouse anymore, and Kelly's experiencing pain and not like the normal labor, well, it's not labor, but the normal, pains that pregnant women go through, I guess. I don't know. Don't have kids. Sorry. Well, I know my sister's had 3, so I know like having a baby is obviously not an easy thing, and I can't see having a little person growing inside of you for 9 months is a cakewalk anyway, never mind the fact that you're carrying, the spawn of the devil. Kelly wants to see a doctor. Dagon is against the idea. Surprise! But Kelly digs her little feet in and says that she is going to see a doctor, and that's it. We cut to the next morning. Dean and Sam apparently were up all night drinking with Mick, which responds to something Dean had said earlier about let's drink. And apparently the Winchesters and Mick drank quite a lot. Both the Winchesters are pretty hungover. Dean actually looks like he's going to throw up all over the table that he had slept with his head down on the table all night. Sam doesn't look all that much better, but at least he's standing, so he's one up on Dean. Mick walks in asking for Bloody Mary mix later in the scene, but he seems to be pretty okay. They find out some information about Mick and where he opens up and talks about his past, which I was like, oh, that's nice. It turns out Mick was an orphan. Didn't know his parents very well, apparently, and was a street child that wound up becoming involved with the British men of letters when he picked a member's pocket and they took him in and gave him a life that involves killing people. Somehow I think you were better off on the street, bruv. Seriously. We cut to Kelly at a doctor's office with Dagon. You really didn't think Dagon wasn't going to be there, did you? The doctor is a very nice, chirpy guy. And Kelly has a sonogram done, which Dagon is not happy about. As the sonogram begins, the doctor's kind of looking more closely at the baby as he's trying to figure out what's going on. Dagon's eyes flash yellow, and she sends the doctor a telepathic order to tell Kelly that everything's okay with the baby, and the doctor does that. We cut to Crowley, who is mocking Lucifer, who all of a sudden is in line. He's not defiant. He's not mocking back to Crowley's jabs or anything like that. Actually crawls on the floor and starts licking the floor, talking about how he says that he is beaten. That he, being Crowley's prisoner and being out of the cage, out of those two choices, being out of the cage is a better choice. He also does mention about Michael, which I was surprised to hear. Michael being, as Lucifer puts it, drooling and insane. And I'm sorry, I just have this image of Michael still in Adam's vessel, and it just breaks my heart. Mick, meanwhile, gets a call from Mr. Ketch about, progress and stuff like that and updates. And it turns out Mr. Ketch has been working with Mary, which we knew. And they're talking about a hunt that they've been on, and they have drinks after the hunt. And everything seems to be relatively all right. Mick gets a visit from, Mick goes back to the Men of Letters headquarters, I guess, for lack of a better term, and gets a visit from another member of the British Men of Letters, a young man named Rennie Rawlings, who we saw previously in Dr. Hess's office, and who also comes off as a total British douche nozzle. Basically, he's there to spy on Mick and report back to Dr. Hess, and anybody who can't see that is totally not looking. Unfortunately, Kelly's doctor isn't long for the episode. He's sitting in his office, and a man comes in asking about the doctor's files and then slits the doctor's throat. We cut back to the Batcave and Dean calling Castiel, what turns out to be for the third time. Dean doesn't know Castiel is in heaven still. While Sam is talking with Eileen, who is actually at the bunker right now. It turns out that the man that we saw killing the doctor was a demon, and he works for Dagon. Eileen had found him disposing of the doctor's body and wound up killing the demon, but not before she got Dagon's phone number. Sam gives Eileen a grin, and it's more than I'm impressed with the work that you did grin. It's more of an I'm impressed and really attracted to you grin. And he toasts with Eileen. They're both drinking beer. Crowley has Lucifer brought before his demonic court, I suppose is the best way to put it. And after a short speech where Crowley's basically patting himself on the back at being able to break Lucifer, Lucifer is brought out in chains and is told by Crowley to tell all of the demons who's in charge of hell. And I'm sitting here going, this is not gonna go well. And guess what, kids? I was right. But I wasn't totally right. I thought Lucifer is just gonna break the chains and it's all just gonna be, complete gone to shit. But Lucifer basically tells the crowd of demons what Crowley wants him to say. And as he's saying it, he's saying these things with his back to Crowley. He's throwing demon winks. He's throwing like demons winks, and his eyes flash red at one point. It's very obvious what he's really saying. And as he's talking about swearing allegiance to Crowley and all this other stuff like that, and that they should know who the true king of hell is, and if they don't, things are going to be horrible for them, and on and on and on. And I'm sitting here going, and this is another reason why one of Satan's monikers is the Prince of Lies. I'm like, oh, wow. You watch a master at work, seriously. We see Kelly on the phone with Dagon, who has gone out to get vitamins and stuff for Kelly. And Kelly gets another call after she's done talking with Dagon from a person that says they are from the doctor's office and that she needs to come back in. The doctor's office assistant is obviously being played by Sam, doing a very cute, kind of light British accent. I didn't know Jared could do accents. It was very cute. The thing is, he and Eileen are joined by Mick and Mick's associate Rennie, who tries to impress Eileen with his whole thing about being top of his class at Kendrick's, to which Eileen responds, "No one cares." Like, I didn't like Eileen enough already. I'm like, okay, that cements it. You totally fucking rock. And Mick also gives Sam the Colt, which I was like, well, that's good. We see Kelly walking down the street going to her doctor's appointment and getting intercepted by Dean. Dean brings her back to the location where Sam, Eileen, and the British Man of Letters are. And, the Winchesters are trying to talk to her, to reason with her. I'm not entirely sure what they expect her to do, because it's not like she can get an abortion now. She's showing, a lot. I think at this point, abortions have, the whole abortion idea, that's gone right out the frickin' window. Remy gets a little bit more hostile and impatient and obviously goes to get a gun to shoot her, which leads to a tense standoff, and you can tell that Dean is itching to put a bullet in this guy, and I don't really blame him, because he's a complete fuckbucket. The wind suddenly picks up, and it's obviously a cold wind, and Kelly says she's here, and a very pissed off Dagon shows up and tosses absolutely everybody besides Kelly after being shot multiple times. She reaches out and takes Kelly by the hand and goes to lead her away. Eileen grabs the Colt and shoots at Dagon's head, but just as she shoots, Dagon disappears. The bullet passes through where Dagon was and slams Rennie in the chest. And Rennie, needless to say, drops dead. So one less British fuckbucket in the world, but Eileen is really distraught, and then the situation gets even worse when Mick pulls his gun on Eileen, even though it was obviously a fucking accident because she was trying to kill Dagon. Sam manages to talk Mick into not killing Eileen, even though Mick's going on about this whole code thing, which has been drilled into his head by these fucking psychos from Britain. And he manages to not, to keep Mick from shooting her, which is really good. Mick tells the Winchesters and Eileen to go. We cut back to the room that Mary and Mr. Ketch were in, and we cut back to Mary putting her clothes on and Mr. Ketch still in bed. I'm sorry, I just threw up in my mouth again. Boy, did you know you can actually throw up so hard you can see stars? I didn't know that. They talk about what they just did, which I really wish somebody would invent brain bleach for, and that it's a no strings attached sort of a thing. They talk a little more, and Mary makes it very obvious. I mean, when Mr. Ketch talks with her about the idea that she's separating herself from her children, she gets irritated with him. I mean, the whole idea that, her whole thing is, why can't I be a mother and be a hunter? And when he says that, so you want it all, and she's basically like, yes, he says, good for you. Which I really think he meant. I really think he meant that. I'll get to my feelings on that whole scene in a minute. Other than the fact that, like I said, puking until you see stars. New one. We see Lucifer with his shirt off. Yay? Sorry. If Mark Pellegrino, if you're listening to this, I don't mean to sound like I'm being insulting or anything like that. I've never seen you with your shirt off before. Wow. Oh my. Back to the show. Lucifer is being checked over. That didn't come out right. Examined? That'd be better. By a demon who's still loyal to him, who is checking. Lucifer's vessel is still holding, so that's a good thing. But the security system that is the spells and such that are keeping him stuck in said vessel and basically on the end of Crowley's leash, those haven't been broken. And they're still intact for now. Lucifer makes it very clear to the demon examining him that this is a situation he wants resolved. Toot sweet. which the demon promises that he will be able to crack the codes and free Lucifer from this. I don't know, at least from the security measures. I'm not sure about from the vessel itself, since I don't think he'd need to leave the vessel since it's stable, and that would also keep him from trying to get a hold of Sam again. And as far as I'm concerned, that's a good thing. Back at the Bat Cave, Sam and Dean are both comforting Eileen, who is really upset about the fact that she just shot and killed a man. I mean, it was an accident. She didn't mean to do it. She was trying to kill Dagon, and this guy was a complete and utter bastard. But, Eileen's a nice person, and she obviously feels bad about this. And Sam trying to make her feel better, and Sam just being an awesome person, signs to her that it was a mistake, signing the word mistake, which I can't do because I'm not smart enough to learn sign language. And Eileen hugs him very tightly, and Sam kind of like hugs her back, runs his hand along her hair, and it was sweet. And it was really nice, and I'm not gonna cry. Anyway, we go back to what's happening with Kelly, which is going from bad to worse to, well, shit just got real, where Dagon is handcuffing Kelly to a bed and tells her that the pains that she's been feeling, it's gonna get worse. How much worse? How about dead worse? She tells Kelly, now she's got no reason to be nice to her anymore, and she tells Kelly that basically killing it, that the birth of this child is going to kill her, that any time a human has given birth to a Nephilium, it's killed them. And that's not even counting the fact that, this is the devil's baby. So Kelly's really in a lot of trouble now. Mick goes back to the British Men of Letters base, where Mr. Ketch and Dr. Hess are waiting for him. Mick winds up getting a royal dressing down, and Dr. Hess tells him that hunters are little more than attack dogs, that the people in charge tell them where to go, what to hunt, and stuff like that, and if Americans can't get in line with that, it's their loss and they're going to have to be put down. She also tells him that Eileen's going to be killed for what happened with Rennie. Mick tells them that shouldn't happen and that, it was an accident, and he also stands up for Sam and Dean. I mean, really stands up for them. And he rejects this whole stupid code that these fucking sociopaths have going, and winds up getting shot in the head by Mr. Ketch, who shoots him from behind. I'd like to bring up motherfucker. We cut back to the Batcave, and Sam telling Dean, who's walked into the room, that Eileen's gone back to Ireland for a while. She needs to just, get herself together. And Sam gives Dean what she left behind, which is the Colt, something Dean is very happy to have back in his hands. Back at the British Men of Letters American base, we see Mick's body lying on the table, half on the table, and Dr. Hess ordering Mr. Ketch that the whole experiment with dealing with American hunters and trying to recruit them has utterly failed. And when Mr. Ketch asks what she wants him to do next, she tells him that she wants them exterminated. All of them. Probably starting with the Winchesters, considering the file she puts down has Dean's name on it. And the episode ends. I give the British invasion 4 stars out of 5. Really tense episode. I was happy to see Eileen back. I think Eileen is an awesome, awesome character, if you haven't figured that out by now. Shoshana Stern is just absolutely wonderful in this role. I think she is just this incredible character, and she's strong and capable and smart, and sassy and beautiful, and you look really great with your hair down. I want to just say that. I love Eileen with her hair down. I think that looks really cool. Boy, what can you say about Mick? You really weren't as big of a jerk as I thought you were. I'm gonna miss you, Adam Fergus. I am. Although I hope you come back and haunt the fuck out of Mr. Ketch. I really do. And I say that actually having Twittered a couple of times with David Hayden Jones. You seem like a really cool dude. Really, Mr. Jones. You seem like a really nice guy. And you really have created a character that I really fucking hate. I mean, really hate. And, what I had said earlier about Dr. Hess, played by Gillian, I think it's Gillian, Barber, who actually appeared back in season 1. She played Mrs. Rourke in, the season 1 episode 12, Faith. Sorry. Trying to talk and my tongue is getting tangled. I referred to her as an umbrage. A couple of days ago, I was actually talking with people online about this, and we decided, and we've made it a motion, and it's been carried out on Twitter, so you know that it's permanent. Anybody that we really don't like, I mean, really can't stand, I mean, absolutely, totally fucking hate with the light and heat of 1,000 burning suns, is from now on, henceforth, and forevermore to be referred to as an umbrage. Obviously taken from Dolores Umbridge of J.K. Rowling's wonderful Harry Potter universe, played so incredibly, wonderfully, hatefully by Imelda Staunton that when she came on screen in one of the Harry Potter movies, I actually growled in the movie theater. I mean, scared the people next to me because I growled like a bear. My spirit animal woke up. I can't help it. So anybody in your life that you really, and you really, or any character that you really, honest to blog, hate, refer to them as an umbrage. My boss is an umbrage. The guy that drives my cab is an umbrage. You know, that kind of a thing. That way, you can call somebody a fucking cunt without actually calling them a fucking cunt. Aren't we smart? We're so smart. So anyway, in case you hadn't figured it out, Dr. Hess is an umbrage. Totally. Next week's episode of Supernatural, The Memory Remains. Sam and Dean are called in when a disappearance occurs, and the person who witnessed the disappearance says that the person that was doing the assaulting was a man with the head of a goat. So Sam and Dean naturally have to butt in. I'm so sorry. Okay, before I ride off into the sunset here, kids, I have something that I would like to talk about. And if this doesn't interest you and you want to fast forward all the way to the end of the show, that's cool. I don't mind. As I have brought up a number of times, because fuck it, it's my show, I am a professional wrestling fan. I have been a wrestling fan since high school, which was back in 1986. I've been a fan ever since. And every once in a while, something happens that you realize, holy shit, I just witnessed something, amazing. It's happened a few times to me, and mostly it's always been something really wonderful. Something happened a week ago, Sunday, that, I still don't know how I feel. WrestleMania happened on April 2nd, and the main event match was Roman Reigns versus The Undertaker. Now, this was extremely conflicting for me because I happen to think Roman Reigns is a good wrestler. I think that he is insanely hot. I just think that he's great, But Roman Reigns' opponent was The Undertaker. I mean, come on. Do I really need to say anything else? I mean, I have been an Undertaker fan for a long damn time. Because he appeals to that dark part of me. And there's always been something about, I have sick, mad respect for him, and I always have. And I've always found that character incredibly compelling. On a deep physical level. Which could get kind of disturbing sometimes. Anyway, long story short, Roman Reigns beat The Undertaker, and that was the end of the match. At least I thought it was. When the match was over, The Undertaker took his gear off, gloves, and took his jacket, his hat, and all that, laid it in the middle of the ring, and left. A lot of people have been speculating that what we saw was The Undertaker's last match. And if that's true, I feel really honored to have seen it. And I feel a lot of other things that feel really conflicting and weird. And I remember sitting there feeling like I was gonna cry. I felt so sad. I felt like I just witnessed something I never wanted to see. You always want someone to, the whole thing is everybody says when it's time to go when you're still on top. When it's time to walk away with your head held high and looking forward and don't ever look back, that kind of a thing. If it is true, and if we're at the end, and we've reached the end, I have 3 words. Thank you, Taker. Okay. Talking about some other stuff. We're going to do a little hype now. If you are interested in dropping me a line or whatever, if you could send it to platinumroselle@yahoo.com, I will totally read it on the air if you put PRG in the header. I'd love to know your opinion of the show and, anything else you want to talk about. That would be great. You can follow me on Twitter if you'd like over at twitter.com/PlatinumRoseL, or you can look up Platinum Rose Lady and you'll find me that way. And there's also the other shows I am involved with, which would include Subject Cinema, which is my dear, sweet, long-suffering husband, TC, and moi. And we talk about movies and do movie reviews and all kinds of fun stuff. And we have a great time, and we hope you'll listen and enjoy it too. And there is Front Row 5 and 10, which is our count-up show. We pick a topic, and we either do a top 10 or 2 top 5 lists of stuff, and we'll do them on movies or music or TV or books or pop culture or anything. If you'd like to send us an idea, you can send it to me here at Platinum Rose's Garden and send it to platinumroselle@yahoo.com, and we'll use it. There is also TC's solo show, which is called Catastrophe Vortex. TC is a disaster movie junkie for reasons that completely elude me. I'm sorry. We have this whole thing. He's like, well, why do you love monster movies? And I'm like, I love monster movies because there's less of a chance of a 900-foot lizard stomping on your town than there is of a tornado. Ta-da! There it is. But if you're into disaster movies, he does a terrific job. He's very knowledgeable about that kind of stuff, and he's just an all-around swell guy. So I hope you'll take a listen. And there is Cavebabble with Eric and Valerie, the Lion family, our good buddies. They do shows about games and television and movies, and Cavebabble eats odd things. And they're really great, funny people that put on a really cool show, and I hope you'll check them out over cavebabble.com. We have a Patreon Patreon campaign if you'd like to take a look at it over at Patreon. And if you like my show, please recommend it to other people that you know so that other people can listen and see what they think of it. And hopefully you guys have a great week out there. This week coming up, if you're a Catholic, this week is Holy Week. One of the most important weeks out of the year for those of us who follow the Catholic faith. So I hope everybody has a great week dealing with that and getting up to Easter and stuff like that. And so this is Platinum Rose Lady signing off for another week. I'm going off to dye some eggs and look for more candy. And you can, this is Platinum Rose Lady, as I said, signing off, reminding you to love the ones you hug the ones you love, and take some time to stop and smell the roses. See you around. Bye.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.